Well, good morning, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant morning, and we have finally some sunshine and some warmth. It's going to be about 6 degrees today, and of course this is what I have been doing to myself. I'm in a cast. I broke a bone in the back of my hand. I was fooling around with my crossbow. I bought the drawstring to pull the strings back and to cock it, and anyways I was using, there's a cocking handle, sort of a ratchet affair that you can pull the string back with, and well, wouldn't you know it, it let go, and I got whacked in the back of the hand and broke a bone on my middle finger. So I am going to be on light duties for about 6 weeks, so that will give me some time to do some research, do some more videos. I know they've been kind of sparse just lately, but there has been a lot going on, not the least of which is the most incredible endorsement of Bitcoin. This is in respect to Russia now considering accepting Bitcoin in exchange for natural gas. And this is an article from Zero Hedge. And yes, this is what I predicted a few weeks ago, that the sanctions on Russia would be forcing them to look at other means of settlement, outside of the fiat system, the SWIFT system. And I don't care if China has an alternate SWIFT system. We're moving into a situation where no country is going to trust each other for settlement with anyone's own currency that they're backing. Maybe with a ruble, but you can see, that the Americans don't want to do a ruble exchange, even if it's backed by gold. And so it's going to take a little while, maybe about another year or so, 2 years, but they are all going to be forced into recognizing that Bitcoin is the only independent means of settlement that everybody trusts. And so, like I say, Russia announcing this is just another endorsement. I gave a presentation the other day, and I was asked, is it basically a banker's coin? Well, whatever they put out, you have to watch what they're doing rather than listen to what they're saying. Okay, so when you have a Bitcoin Visa, a Bitcoin MasterCard, Bitcoin PayPal, when banks and institutions, JP Morgan, are buying Bitcoin, Goldman Sachs is buying Bitcoin, what are they telling you? And now Russia has basically said that this system is a safe and hard currency to use as a transaction mechanism. Okay, remember, Bitcoin has been operating for 10 years now, and it has been attacked every single day by every hacker that you can think of, whether it is a bank paid hacker or an individual, because if you can hack into Bitcoin, there is a ton of dough to be made. So don't ever think that people aren't trying to hack into Bitcoin, and it hasn't been successful yet. And as I say, Ukraine is adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. El Salvador, I don't think anyone can possibly suggest that this has not been checked out thoroughly and is a safe and stable platform. Okay, so I'm just going to pop over this article. It's a very short article, so I'll read that, come back, do a quick wrap up. Okie dokie, here we go. And this from Zero Hedge. Russia is open to selling natural gas for Bitcoin, gold. Russia is open to accepting Bitcoin for its natural resources exports, the chairman of the country's Congressional Energy Committee, Pavel Zavalny, said in a press conference on Thursday. Zavalny explained that Russia is open to accepting different currencies for its exports, beginning with natural gas, depending on the buyer's preferred method of payment. However, the chairman said terms will depend on the importing country's foreign relations status with Russia. There you go, see what I tell you. When it comes to our friendly countries like China or Turkey, which don't pressure us, then we have been offering them for a while to switch payments to national currencies like rubles and yuan, Zavalny said during the press conference. With Turkey, it can be lira and rubles, so there can be a variety of currencies, and that's a standard practice. If they want Bitcoin, we will trade in Bitcoin. There you go, what an endorsement. Navalny's statement comes on the heels of President Vladimir Putin's comments on Wednesday demanding that unfriendly countries pay for Russian gas in rubles. Putin's message was clear, but it is unclear whether Russia can unilaterally change existing contracts agreed upon in euros. The State Duma's Energy Committee chair echoed Putin's decision whilst adding that the country should also accept gold. When we exchange with Western countries, they should pay in hard money, Navalny said. And hard money is gold, or they must pay in currencies which are convenient for us, and that is the national currency, ruble. That relates to our unfriendly countries. Russia being open to accepting Bitcoin shift the tide as Putin last year had dismissed the possibility in an interview at the Russian Energy Week event in Moscow. I believe that it has value, Putin said to me at the time, referring to Bitcoin, but I don't believe it can be used in the oil trade. The current size of the Bitcoin market and its liquidity do pose questions as to whether the peer-to-peer currency could be used widely by countries in international trade at this moment. Yes, it can. However, by being open to the possibility and eventually conducting pilot trades with interested parties, Russia could set the stage for an upcoming trend where nations choose to transact in the stateless global money system. The news helped push Bitcoin and Ether to the highest level since the start of the Russian invasion. And there you go, my friends. It will take time. It'll take a couple of years, but we are well on the way to international, national adoption of Bitcoin as a currency of settlement. And this, of course, is the wonderful thing about Bitcoin, is it's not complicated. It's a very simple accounting algorithm that prevents fraud in real time. Okay, and so this is the trajectory that I would expect Bitcoin to take on its way to being the reserve currency. And actually, I think it already is the reserve currency of the world. We just haven't, formally announced that yet. But we will be moving more and more and more to Bitcoin being integrated into our financial system. And I think, you will see other countries will retain their own currency. We will move to a more kind of national status on that level. Now, you may think it's going backward for countries to keep their own currency, but I can guarantee you that countries will be judged on the way they look after their own country and their people and manage their resources. And if you want to just leave a whole shit pile for someone to clean up, your currency is not going to trade very well into Bitcoin. And I'm not talking about control, I'm talking about real environmental cleanup here. I'm not talking about getting rid of CO2, I think that is all nonsense. I'm talking about getting rid of pollution. And so this will reflect on the way your currency trades in and out of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin will be the placeholder. It will be the placeholder, and like I say, it's going to take a little while to do this, and I think the banks are going to be dragged kicking and screaming into this, but who cares? They deserve to get their butt kicked. They have been screwing us for so long with their sleight of hand. It's about time they got a comeuppance. And remember, when governments can't print money willy-nilly and create loans out of nothing, they have to toe the line a lot more than if they can just, there'll be no more wars. This is another thing that's going to end with Bitcoin. So we really are ushering in a new era of hard money that is easy to transact with. That's been the problem with gold and silver. It's clunky. Yes, it holds its value. Yes, it's a hard currency, but it's clunky. And, because of the way we negotiate, deal, and settle now in the 21st century, I could see absolute advantage with digital currency, not central bank digital currencies. It is a programmable money. It is not a blockchain currency. It's a database. It's exactly the same as the banking system. And it's a bit like painting, the ship of banking orange and saying it's a lifeboat like Bitcoin. Well, no, it's not. These are two separate entities. And yes, you may be able to exchange the central bank digital currencies for Bitcoin just like a regular currency. But we've yet to see how this is going to unfold. It is going to be very, very interesting. But to have a hard currency as hard as Bitcoin, which is as hard as gold and silver, but is completely flexible and transactable, That is quite an innovation, and I am quite hopeful because it's such a root cause of so many problems on our planet. It is the greed motivator, having to fight inflation at all times. And you don't, any younger listeners, any younger listeners, you don't realize until you get to my age, and you're going, wait a minute. I worked hard all my life and I'm supposed to be retiring, and yet I have to now come up with more money than I was when I was working because inflation is eating away the value of my spending power. When you're young, you don't notice as much. Let me tell you, when you get older and your income is a little bit more fixed, you really start to notice the damage that inflation has done and what a greed motivator it is on our planet. So I've got my fingers crossed on my left hand, can't cross them on my right hand. And in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant morning, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.